What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. We're just laughing about our pre-show talks here. No big deal.
The stuff that's not
arable. Yeah. We took a couple weeks off there. Had some things to take care of. No big deal, but we're back. And our buddy Olin's joining us today. He just walked in here last minute, as usual, Olin style.
The diva, come on now.
But anyway, today we're talking not so much as an update, but I'm going to do a little update about the shop, of course. But we got a little bit of a subject going back to a little bit longer shows. Kind of how RC has affected our lives outside of the hobby. And by which I mean maybe the social skills or mechanical skills that it might have helped us out with, and just kind of bettered our lives in general, other than actually playing with toy cars, which is obviously fun in itself. But before we get into that, we'll do a little shop update. Those of you know, we got the TRX4Ms in. I know a lot of you already picked those up. They're pretty cool, the 18 scale trucks. I did a couple little videos about those, me and Justin. And then the Traxxas XRT. So it's been a big couple of weeks for Traxxas. They dropped two pretty cool trucks. We do have them in the shop. You can come check those out. That's the newest stuff product-wise that we got. We just finished the Tuesday night series and did the awards and t-shirts for that. You check that out on Facebook. That was pretty cool. And this Tuesday marked the first week of the next 10-week series for the winter series for Tuesday night. So that's pretty cool. And we're running mod buggy now instead of stadium trucks. So we're giving that a try. So that's pretty cool. And then on-road scene has been blowing up lately.
Oh, it's been ridiculous.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah. You got to get to a Tosco.
I have enough classes that I don't have talent to drive, thank you.
GT12 has been insane.
Yes, but the 12 scales pretty much drive themselves. I'm
like a Tesla. Like a Tesla.
Yes.
Yes.
Then they just run into the occasional Marshal.
No,
Well,
they really don't.
That depends on who's driving.
So that's Tuesday nights. They've been
running that Tuesdays.
Been a good show.
Even a little bit Friday and Sunday.
Yeah.
Friday's kind of an unofficial day,
Right.
but it's been happening. And Sundays is the more official day for that.
Right.
Cool.
But yeah, GT12 has been awesome, and Formula One. I've been running Formula One.
Yes.
That's a pretty fun class too.
I might pick one of those up.
Yeah. They're pretty sweet.
Yeah. Easy to drive.
So if you guys are interested in the on-road scene, Formula One GT12 is popping off here in Madness.
Yes.
It's cool to see how stuff over time gets hot, and like people get into it, and it has a lot of support.
The GT12 was really a snowball effect in its finest, really, because I don't really even know how it started. It kind of just came back on. We did it in the past, but we kind of started it Sunday, and then one guy saw it, and I was like, oh, that's cool. And then another guy saw it, I'm going to get one of those. And then Justin got one.
Really?
And then, well, John had one first. John and Tony had them.
Yeah.
And then Justin got it. And then seeing Keon getting one. Eddie was out here driving one.
Who got?
Beef. No.
Fast Eddie.
Gotcha.
No. Eddie out there. And then.
Okay, gotcha.
I don't know, a bunch of other names. At the end of the day, we had almost 20 people running GT12 on a Sunday.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then
That's cool.
Probably almost 10 F1 cars. So it was pretty awesome. The racing's been really good. I've been doing fresh layouts every week. And then we had the Turkey Gobbler race over last Sunday, which was pretty awesome. That went pretty smooth. No complaints there. Nothing too crazy happened other than some pretty good racing.
My boy Manny.
Manny did
Getting it done.
Yeah, if he's watching, good job, Manny.
Yeah, he's been killing it lately.
That was a good battle between him and Cravata, or him and AC.
It was Cravata.
Cravata, yeah.
And it was only a battle because Manny basically was like, you know what, I'm going to short this triple and give you a chance.
Oh, that's what it was.
No, never mind. I'm going to run you down and take it back. He pulled a fume.
It was a pretty awesome race to watch. So
Yeah, it was.
yeah, that was cool. And that was four-wheel drive, 13.5. And then this weekend is Saturday is Oval Trophy Race, and then weekend after Thanksgiving we have Black Friday Trophy Race, and then Sunday on-road race. So that'll be a busy weekend. Plus the clinic class.
Black Friday trophy race?
Friday trophy race.
Ooh.
Black Friday.
Well,
Hey, a trophy race I can make.
Yeah.
Wait, pause for 2 seconds. So, we did it a few years ago. It was kind of like unofficial. Like, it started at like 11, and then we did another race that night. Would you guys do that, or it's too busy?
That sounds like a crazy day.
That was, I believe that happened not on Black Friday.
Okay.
That happened on a New Year's Day race that landed on a Friday night.
Okay, gotcha.
the New Year's Day we run the race in the morning, and then it was a Friday night, and they wanted to see if they could keep running.
Everybody was still here.
Like, guys, we love racing too. Jeez.
But we ended up running.
You probably did.
Yeah, we did it, and we were here till like, I want to say 2-ish.
It's like 12 plus hours of solid racing.
Yeah, but we had nowhere else to go. Like, it's a day after.
It was New Year's Day on a Friday.
It was like,
the bars are closed. What am I supposed to do?
Right.
Yeah. But that won't happen this Friday, because this Friday is regular.
By the end of the holidays, I think most people are like, you know what? Madness is probably open.
Right.
Not wrong.
I got some Santa money to burn.
Right.
Yeah. But I think that is pretty much it for updates and upcoming stuff. Pretty standard stuff.
Right.
So now we can talk a little bit about the subject here, and I'll open up, and you guys can share too. So the the first thing that I found, there's really two things that this whole hobby has impacted. One, obviously I work here, so it's greatly changed my life completely. My life is basically based around the hobby at this point. But to break it down to more simple things, basically the mechanical skills and the social skills are the two things that I draw the most from this hobby in general. Aside from working here, this is just focusing on the hobby itself.
If you were just a hobbyist.
Yeah. One is mechanical skills they're just RC cars, but a lot of the mechanics apply to obviously real cars, as close, but not even just real cars, just mechanical operations, I guess, like gears, shocks. There's a lot of math involved in it if you're doing racing, like figuring out gear ratios and tire diameter and how that affects the overall speed of the car.
Yeah, especially with on-road.
Right, and there's a lot of electrical stuff, battery voltage, positive and negative, speed control, current draw, programming, speed control. Tyler P, we did the whole thing about motors, the electrical stuff behind motors and mechanical stuff. And a lot of that stuff applies to real world applications. I mean, it's just smaller versions of honestly bigger things that trickle down to RC stuff. You know what I mean? RC doesn't generally pioneer a lot of this technology because, quite frankly, it's not a big industry like aviation, like Tyler does. Like, they spend hundreds of billions of dollars figuring out some weird kind of electric motor that 10, 20 years from now will trickle down to being more efficient RC car. But the skills still apply, and I have a pretty good understanding of electric motors and gear ratios and drivetrains, stuff like that I would have probably never really cared to learn about or understood had there not been a toy car in front of me.
Well, where else are you going to learn it too?
That's what I'm saying.
Like brushless motors and Hall effect sensors and chassis tuning theory. Your average person isn't going to learn that stuff
right
outside of this hobby unless they go to school for it or they are deep in, like full-scale road racing and things that.
Which is way more expensive than RC cars.
And and harder to break into. The funny, so you mentioned how like the technology, Tyler said, the technology trickles down into RC, which is true, right? We had brushed motors, now we have brushless, we have sensored-less, then we had censored. When I went from the aircraft side to the space, like literal outer space side of the business for a couple of years, some of the coolant pumps that we used we designed for satellites and the space station and like the new Artemis rocket that's going to put the U.S. on the moon again. These pumps were brushless DC motors with Hall sensors, which is exactly what our technology is. So I was talking to one of our electrical engineers, and he's like, yeah, we took the motor for the pump and we ran it on the dyno. And I'm like, oh, what kind of dyno? And he's like, well, a dyno is when you take a motor, and he starts giving me...
Did he mansplain it to you?
He mansplained to me. And I was offended and demanded an apology.
I was offended.
But he starts explaining it, and I said to him, I'm like, no, that's not my question. My question is, what is the dyno you're using for this? And he's like, I don't get it. I go, I understand it's a 3-phase motor with a Hall effect sensor.
The actual machine.
Right. Is it an inertial dyno? Is it like, what are you doing? Is it water brake? Like, what is the thing? And he kind of looked at me, And he was like, "You're a mechanical engineer." I'm like, "Yeah, I get that." He's like, "Well, how do you know that?" I go, "I race toy cars."
That's pretty mechanical, though, isn't it?
So, well, it is, but the
I don't
operation,
understand why the guy was so surprised.
the operation and the actuation of those motors is not something your typical ME is going to learn about in college.
Gotcha.
It's going to be,
It's a very specific job.
yeah, it's like it's a Sparky thing. It's an electrical engineer thing.
Sparky thing.
So even that, like, and that's where I think this hobby is amazing. Is if you get past the phase where you're like Mr. Ready to Run or Mrs. Ready to Run, and you start working on your own stuff
Keeping a PC.
and building your own. Building your own. I'm just holding it all in, and you build and you work on your own stuff. Like for a young kid that wants to get into, you know, they call it STEM, right? Science, technology, engineering, and manufacturing. Mm-hmm. This is a great hobby for that because it's not crazy expensive and you can learn a bunch of stuff that you'll surprise people when you start going to school that you know it.
It's pretty similar to any kind of school robotics class or anything like that.
Yep.
I mean, we've had quite a few schools come down here for that.
Freaking Winnick, a couple of their kids came down.
Okay.
And they built their own RC.
Oh, the 3D printing cars.
Yeah, they brought their own.
I remember that was last year.
Yeah, I think they were here.
Yeah, well, it was last year.
They came when we were doing a podcast day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they pretty much built their own, and they were looking to see if we had parts so they could incorporate with their build. Some of the things we could help them with, but some of the things we couldn't because...
Yeah, we were basically sitting there trying to re-engineer them because we didn't like the way they were designed.
Right.
Right.
But it's the same.
It's the same.
The skills carry throughout, and obviously I don't remember every time that they've related to this, but it's on a pretty regular basis that the problem I need to solve I've had in the past because of something related to this hobby.
Right.
Like even, I mean, me and Chris, the owner, I know you guys know Chris, I've worked on several real cars, and just like just the basic skills of, you know, just screwing something in or screwing it out. Just there's a lot of things, like a lot of people don't even think about how just the real simple stuff like lefty loosey righty tighty, and how
start it by hand so you don't strip it with a power tool.
When to use Loctite or just the super simple things that have been drilled into me because of working on these cars that I don't really even think about anymore.
You just do it.
But when I'm working on something else, it might impress somebody because I'm doing it so quickly.
Oh, how did you know that already?
Or just my, and I don't mean to make this a bragging, gloating thing, which is what it's kind of sounding like, but just my ability to figure out a problem
solving,
because I've worked on these cars so much. Like, someone brings a car to the counter, why is it making this noise? Well, I don't really know, so I got to sit there and figure out.
Right.
But then that carries to when I'm at home and my wife's like,
why is the garbage disposal making that noise?
Why is that making... Well, I don't know. So I pop it into, and it blows her mind that I sit there, take it apart, find whatever stuck in it, pull it out, put it back together. And I really give a lot of credit to this hobby for that ability to do that. And I think a lot of people overlook that side of it, and they just look at the cost of it sometimes because...
Well, there's intangible value.
Right.
Yeah, that's
hard to put a price tag on. Where you walk, like, okay, you sell the whatever, and you're done with RC and you move on to high school. But what did you get out of it that's going to make you better in the next things you do?
Which really leads into my next example, which you guys, I wouldn't even know you guys without it, if you know what I mean. Which is, which is really
the big win for you.
Right. The mechanic, right? That's what I'm trying to explain to these guys. That my life would just be horrible if you guys weren't here.
Obviously,
but kind of the mechanical side of it and problem solving has really helped me out. But leading into the social skills, not so much. So roll it back. Me and Chris were having this conversation the other day. When I first started working here, I really didn't talk to anybody, and I was very nervous and
I remember when you were new here. You were very quiet.
I didn't want to talk on the phone. I was really, I don't know what the word is.
Introverted?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, we'll go with that.
I would say more shy.
Yeah, shy.
Because
same difference.
Honestly, when you first start working here, there's a lot to take in, and it can be overwhelming. Even though it's toy cars, like there's a lot of things that go into these toy cars. It's not just simple
Yeah.
things. Like
There's a lot to learn, which
Right.
is what the with the mechanical skills and the social skills put together, which I'll circle back to in a second. But the social part of it is, like you said, I was real shy, didn't really blah blah, and it brought me to this point where now I'm talking on the internet for everybody to see, and I like doing it, and I shouldn't say I don't care. It doesn't make me nervous to do this.
right.
Yep.
I'm not really afraid to talk to anybody. Where before, I didn't even want to talk on the phone. I didn't even want to order a pizza.
Yep.
But this place has got me to a point where I'll talk to anybody on the phone. I don't care who you are, what it's about.
Right.
But it's just the fact that I'm answering phone calls 100 times a day. And then to take it away from just working here, just hanging out and racing, and how I met you guys, and just how people come in here and hang out and just talk to people.
Yep.
I think that's been lost along the way as far as right there, you know what I mean? Social media,
Right.
cell phones, just generally not wanting to leave the house. Having somewhere to go where everybody is somewhat relatable. Like we're all here for a reason.
There's at least one thing in common.
Right.
Right.
You know what I mean? And I really think that's something you can't put value on. It's really brought out, I want to say, the best in me, honestly.
Well, that's always been my pitch when I talk to somebody that asks about, my kid. I think my kid would love an RC car. What do you think? It's always, yes, you should do it, because if you let them, they will learn how to work on stuff. They will learn how to communicate with people directly in person and socialize. And there are all these other intangible skills that, like you said, I think have been lost because people are more about watching people they're more about watching people live their lives
Than actually
or
living.
documenting that they're living their lives rather than just living their lives.
That's what I'm saying.
And it's crazy because, like, if you think about it, we're here in Connecticut, right? If we were to up and move to, like, let's say another RC
Another
place,
area that has an RC community.
we would be having the same conversations
Yeah.
with the same
They're
group of
everywhere.
people. You know what I mean? It's just like it's like a car community. You know what I mean? Regardless of where you're at, if you find that community, like we went to a race in freaking New Hampshire. At first, when I got there, I'm like a little timid about it. But then the guys up there, just like here, I'm like, hey, what you need? You need help? Like, oh, those tires won't work here. You should try these. It's just like, it's this community that's like willing to help you. Yeah, that's willing to help you regardless of who you are.
It's getting lost a lot.
Yeah,
I think.
There are less and less ways that people can build that. Right, like in the past, it was kids went out and rode their bikes, played on the playground, played tag, did whatever.
Met other kids.
Right.
So a lot of those things now it's, playing video games remotely. All my friends are on Fortnite, and not to sound like, if there's a young person watching this,
There's nothing wrong with that.
there's going to be an okay boomer comment, I
Right.
predict.
Listen, I
But
play Call of Duty too, dog.
you can do those things, but at the end of the day,
You still need that social interaction.
unless you think you're going to find a job where you do everything on Zoom and you work from home, which by the way, you're going to end up looking like Gollum at the end of life. You need people skills. And until you get to the point where you're old enough to go to college or to get a job, this is a great place to learn some of those skills. Or even like you said about not public speaking per se, but being willing to talk to people you don't know. Go get on the driver's stand for 5 minutes, be nervous as all can be.
Right.
It helps someone get through the jitters that you get when you're anxious, so that if you have to give a presentation at school, if you have to give a presentation at work, I've been nervous before. I've raced with guys on the track and I've whooped their butt. So maybe you have a little bit more confidence going into it than you would have otherwise.
That's really what it is, the confidence thing, because like I said, when I first was here, I really didn't want to talk to anybody, but I had to. It was, I don't want to say it was forced. I mean, nobody forced me to work here.
Right.
It was my choice. But it was forced. It's either you're going to talk to people or you're going to
Or you're going to fail.
So
Yeah.
So I did, and me and Chris were talking about it the other day, and it was pretty funny, reminiscent about when I first started here, blah, and what's changed and how far it's come, and yada yada. And basically to the point where, like I said before, I'll talk to anybody, and I don't really care. And even to the point where we're running that class now, and I'm talking to a group of people pretty intimately, pretty close.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But before, when I was in school, I was scared shitless to give my science project.
Yep.
Well,
But now I would do it the day before and make it up, and I don't even care.
but that goes back to when I first started coming here, and like I say this all the time, Carissa, when I built that diff backwards, she busted my.
Well, she's still on you about that.
Yeah, but she does. But the thing about it is just
Nothing gets lived down.
No, but she made me
Builds
feel
character.
comfortable, even though I made the mistake. Like, listen, it happens in this hobby, especially when it's your first build.
Yeah.
People make those mistakes. I'm a ride you about it, till the day you die. But things like that happen. But it helped draw me in to be like, you know what? I'm not the only one who made this mistake. I'm not a complete idiot.
Right.
It happens.
That's a good point.
Well, there's a lot of respect given for
Trying.
you put it together yourself,
Right.
and even if you screwed it up yourself.
Right.
I'm glad that you said that, because that's kind of a big thing for me in just life in general. I hate when people are scared that they're gonna mess something up.
Nobody's done anything without
I
either
can
failing or making a mistake.
I get being nervous or something, and obviously there's bigger situations than
Correct.
some.
Yeah.
But when it comes to RC cars,
Right.
they're usually never a big deal.
You can
Let's be
afford
honest.
whatever you're going to mess up.
Right.
I don't want to fix my shop because I'm scared I'm going to mess it up. Okay, back up. Let's analyze this situation real
How
quick.
badly could this go?
One,
How are you gonna learn?
one, the shock's already broken.
Right.
Two, how bad could you break this shock
If it's
more in your hand?
Right.
And three, what is literally the worst that could happen by you learning how to fix this shock?
Right.
Right.
And that's just a small example, but I think a lot of people, growing is messing up. There's so many times that I've messed up doing things. I mean, this is a whole room full of machines that I've messed up on
Trial and error.
several times.
Yeah.
There's a pile of vinyl over there that's been messed up, and some t-shirts over here. This is what it is.
It happens.
But I think there's been a bit of a shift in people's mentality. In the
sorry.
past, you expected to fail. Like I have a poster, it's still hung, I've had it since I was a teenager. It's Jeremy McGrath, who was a famous motocross racer. And it's like a silhouette of him going off a jump, and it says, you must always push the limits, because if you never fail, you never succeed.
I think that's great advice.
People also say nothing ventured, nothing
Nothing
gained,
gained,
right? So, you can try to live your life in a bubble where you're not willing to try to fix stuff. You're not willing to try to do stuff. You're always in that comfort zone. You're going to live a pretty vanilla life.
Yeah,
Right. I think that people need to push themselves, and I think that this hobby has incrementally given me the confidence to try new things, because I realize that messing them up is obviously messing some things up can be pretty bad, but generally messing
general,
things up, it's not. Oh man, now I got to fix this. The
Right.
5-minute job became an hour job.
Right.
We'll move through it, and then next time we have to do it, we'll be okay.
You'll know better.
But the RC hobby has done that. New car comes out, new problem, got to fix it. Ah man. So I sit there, fix it, figure it out. Next time I got to do it, it's pretty quick.
Well, and the reality is, big boys do the same thing. Like adults, it happens to. Look at Losi when they came out with the 22 originally. They're like, brand new, innovative rack steering. Version 2.0, rack steering's gone. It sucked.
People mess up all the
You
time,
know?
and it's fine. And I think that between the mechanical skills that this hobby brings and the social skills, put it together, can build a lot of confidence in somebody that doesn't have any. And that's really what I'm trying to get out today. And I know that might be a little deep for our show, but
I don't think so.
I really feel passionate about that.
And I think it's something that
Because I lived it.
should not be overlooked.
No.
Especially if you're a parent with young kids, or if you're a young individual, you're not getting the full value out of the hobby if you buy it ready to run, you break it, and you park it.
Or you
Right.
wait until the shop's open to have them fix it.
There's
Yeah.
so many kids that come in here that don't know what a screwdriver is, and it hurts me every time. And I don't blame them. I don't blame anybody really, but just a simple of screwing something in and out, or I just feel like people should know how to do this stuff, and it's just they're going to be better people in the future for
Well,
it.
and there's so much knowledge. The knowledge base now, sitting at home, is so much bigger than it used to be.
Oh, it's insane.
You can Google stuff, and you can probably find a video of someone showing you how to replace the motor in your Slash. So there aren't a lot of there are less and less reasons to be like, oh, I don't want to try.
Yeah, because
There's more at your disposal.
You're right.
when we
There's
were
really-
kids, we had to wait till the library opened to go get a book to do some of the things that you can just go and scroll on the internet and find it in 2 seconds.
You're right.
So
It's like so much easier now.
The
Technology's at your fingerprint. Sorry.
it is. No, you're right. Like the going back to the Blackfoot, the first truck I ever had with a mechanical speed control. I tell you what, you only need to turn the truck on without the radio turned on one time. When that thing takes off,
Chasing it into the bushes.
to basically be and I'm like, it was on the bench, I had it on the stand, and I plugged the truck in, and the servo basically said, this is where I feel like going. And the motor went wide open, and I was like, immediately unplugged it, and it was like, what the crap just happened? And then you start going through the process of like, okay, well, I didn't have the radio on, maybe I should have the radio on. So you turn that on, and then like years later you read the manual, and the manual's like, turn on the radio first, dummy. You're like,
But-
okay,
In a small sense, you just failed.
sure. That thing could have
And your-
shot off
and
the
your car
table
took
and
off on you.
broke the drywall in the kitchen.
But you learned that day, I'm going to turn the radio on before I turn my truck on. So that failure brought more success in the future.
Right.
Because of this hobby.
Life experiences.
Yeah.
And I really think people shouldn't be afraid of failure, and I think that they should just dive into it and...
Which
I'm
is
just scared.
more, I mean, that's kind of a philosophy. That's a life
It's definitely
philosophy.
Well,
like,
that's what I'm trying to connect this whole hobby to, just life in general.
yeah.
Because, I mean, any hobby really, when it boils down to it, we're just doing
Right.
RC because this is Tyler's Talk RC. So
Right.
Yeah, but just think about, so look at the Chapmans. They used to run RC cars, and now they run freaking go-karts or whatever they call.
well, they were running go-karts before.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, but look at, there's some kids like that that started.
There's a lot of
Yeah,
a lot of
that's-
correlation.
Yeah, but they started off.
Yeah.
They started off doing RC, and then like, oh,
Now
I
they're
kind of
messing
like
with
this. I
real
want
trucks and all
right
kinds
now. I
of-
want to do something. So they either go on to
Yep.
like dirt bikes. How many dirt bike racers do we have in here?
Yeah.
a lot of them.
Lot
they
of
come
guys.
down in the off season.
Right,
Yep.
And it's
or the guys that run at down. They used to be down the street, Lebanon Valley, whatever.
Drag race.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know what I mean. Like how many guys that.
well, it's all a pretty similar demographic.
Right. But
Yeah.
that's-
So basically, when you're coming here, you're hanging out with people that are on the same page as you
Right.
with most things.
But it also scales really well.
Yep.
Like setting up an off-road RC car, there's a lot of parallels. If you were to then go and like, I mean, maybe not a lot of us are doing Baja racing, but if you had like a crawler, now you want to go build a square body Chevy,
Physics or physics,
And
whether
go
it's
out
this
in the
big
woods.
or this big.
right?
Physics or physics.
I helped my buddy at Stafford over the summer a couple times, and it was a tour modified, so it's fast car, open wheel, just like the oval guys run. And he'd come into the pits, and I'd overhear like him and the crew chief and his mechanic talking about wedge and playing with sway bar settings, and I'd kind of listen to what they said, and then walk over to the crew chief and be like, "So you did this to do that, and that changes this and this and this, right?" And he's like, "Yeah." And it was another one of those moments where it's like,
How you know that?
you're just the guy holding the jack. Why do you
Right.
understand that? I've never seen you here before. And it's and you get the moment of like, well, I race RC cars. but it translates.
I'm a professional RC racer.
Yeah.
But you're right, and that's why I wanted to do this show about it.
Yeah.
And a lot of it carries through just regular life in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think it's greatly helped me throughout my life, and I know that for a fact. I mean, every project I worked on, and just in general. And then the people you meet too. Not even the fact that you have somebody to hang out with, but the fact that like you're doing something else. Like you got into the motor tuning, and now I know you. So now people can help with the motor tuning. I'm trying to think of something outside of the hobby. I don't know. Like I know a guy that did rental equipment, and I helped him with his RC car. We talked for a while.
Oh.
I need to borrow something for the front end of my bucket loader. Oh, hey, we got that.
Now
I'll drop it off.
Now you got a guy.
All right, cool. Drop it off, and I'll help you with that. He drops off a piece of equipment for me. I help him with this RC car thing over here.
Yep.
Now that relationship, based on RC cars, has benefited both of us.
Outside of the hobby.
Right. Or I get a load of dirt over here, or this guy knows somebody that takes down trees. I had someone take a tree out of my front yard because of somebody that I knew through here. And I get a little deal on that because I talked to him for a while and we were cool.
Well, and that's the social side of this.
Right. I made a lot of connections.
That if the more outgoing you are when you're at the track, I mean, within reason, you're not going to walk up to people and be like, "Who are you?" I've never,
Right.
But if you're just generally kind of going with the flow and helping people out, and hey, how's it going? Car looks good, whatever, making small talk, that's a good thing. The other thing that occurred to me as you were saying all that this hobby teaches really well sometimes is how to lose, and that is a skill set that I think has been lost. Is how to lose.
Sportsmanship.
Yeah. You show up here enough times, you're going to get your butt kicked by a whole bunch of people. And some of them you might think are below you. They're not as good as you. Why did they beat me tonight? And it's like, you know what? You go home and do a little soul searching, and it makes you better.
Tyler P's got some scars.
No, but I mean, everybody can have a great night and be on. Everybody can have a bad night and be off.
Yeah.
And it sends you home kind of looking at things.
And that's life in a nutshell.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just, for somebody that, maybe there's that one person out here watching that's not quite in the hobby and looking for a reason. And honestly, other than just driving the cars, the community, sense of community, and just the skills that you gain from being a part of, the RC stuff is intangible.
The other thing that I love, and I've come to appreciate it more in the last couple of years, where
meeting me.
Oh, yeah, we forgot
Actually.
about that. That's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Because, you watch the news and you get this image of, like, the country is divided and nobody gets along and everybody hates anybody that doesn't look like them. And you come here and it doesn't matter.
Right.
I mean, as long as you're respectful and you're cool and you're basically just not a jerk, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from, what you look like, where you've been. It's...
Yeah, our bar is pretty low for acceptance. As long as you're not mean to me, I really don't. We'll be cool.
Yeah, but the other thing about
low bar.
But the other thing about it is just like
I know what you're saying.
They don't like bullies in this community either.
Nobody likes bullies at all.
So I've
don't.
seen people like bully somebody on the track, and then another guy be like, "Hey, what are you doing?"
Yeah, you're gonna learn today.
Right.
I'll shut that down real quick.
Yeah, but it's not just you, but it's
see
people
somebody
here.
yelling at a marshal or something.
Yeah,
like
people
that.
do that here. They're just like, listen.
And we say, "You're done."
Yeah,
You're done.
It's crazy. You
Yeah.
wouldn't think you would see that, but it's just like people like if you're like you said, if you're not a total douche, somebody will like stick up for you if you need it.
Which is, I'm not gonna lie, that's some of my favorite memories here, is when I see that in action, where it's like, that was awesome.
Right.
And in another venue outside of this place, you might not see that.
Or when you it's so crazy, like all the dads in here, like you see like a kid trip on the track, like all the dads like put their cars down and run over to try and help this kid. It's just like, it doesn't matter if somebody needs help, we're gonna help you. Yeah. And regardless of where you're from or whatever, as long as you're not a complete tool.
Yeah,
How many more words you got for that?
We'll,
man.
we'll even tolerate a certain population of jerks. It's a small bucket. We're at capacity right now, but
Isn't it 2?
it's 3.
Oh. Wait.
Does that mean I'm the third?
Does being the third word subject first?
Either or.
Yeah.
I don't know what's better. I don't know.
There's a lot of good in the hobby.
All in all, that's basically what we're trying to get at.
Yeah.
The hobby offers more than what you see at face value, which is just toy cars. I think, obviously the skills, the community, and just, meeting new people. I would have, never met Olin or Tyler P had it not been for RC cars, realistically.
And your life would have been less rich as a result.
Right, I would have hated myself, and I just would have never talked to anybody, and no good would ever come from my life.
Sitting in a basement playing Magic the Gathering.
Yeah.
Hey man, we don't hate on other hobbies. We don't hate on other hobbies
Right.
here. I don't play Magic, by the way. I don't know where that came from. It was Pokemon, not Magic.
I was.
Oh, we don't have any secrets. But anyway, I know I've been wanting to talk about this for a while, and I just pretty passionate about RC cars changing lives because it fucking changed mine.
What's so crazy is I think about like when we talk about drills. So like even like the technology and like the drills, they used to be like brush motors and now they're brushless. And
What are you
this is
talking
like
about drills all of a sudden?
I'm just saying like the technology and it's just like I know the difference because I've
Oh, that's true.
You know what I mean?
It's like it's a little part of life where someone in the hobby is like, yeah, I know what that means.
Yeah, it's just so crazy. Just like I can see the difference, like the smoothness.
Because
in
now
it.
we can only buy brushless tools.
Well, I'm not saying, but before when you had brush tools, you.
I'm just saying when brush was still an option, I couldn't buy brush tools because I had to buy brushless ones because I know how much better brushless is.
Right.
Gotcha.
Or with the battery.
Now the
like
market
lithium
has
batteries
caught up.
Now the
Yeah.
market's pretty much only brushless. I don't make that choice anymore.
Right.
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah, just like
that was
crazy.
a good. That was kind of like a. I use that example a lot actually because people come in and that I know I guess I stereotyped them, but I'm like this guy knows tools. Like you come in, he looks like a mechanic or
Right.
tow truck driver, and this guy's used a tool.
Right.
So he's like, well, what's the difference between brushed and brushless? So I was like, you buy tools? It's like, well, yeah. I was like, well, you buy brushless tools or brush tools? Well, I usually only buy the brushless ones. They're better. And I was like, well, there's your difference. He's
right.
like, oh, well, I'll take the brushless car.
Right.
I mean, it's the same technology, but it correlates across
Right.
multiple things.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So, yeah, we're really driving this one home.
Oh yeah.
It's a great hobby, and if you guys aren't into it, I mean, obviously you're probably into it a little bit if you're sitting here watching our show.
Or they just like watching things on YouTube.
That's pretty specific, and I appreciate that.
I'm just saying.
But just, reaching out to the people that have watched the show for, I think we're like
Right around
40
a year.
episodes, about
Yeah.
a year in. So about a year worth of episodes here. So shout out to those guys, especially if you're still watching now after 37 minutes of us just rambling on about how RC cars are made with better people.
Yeah. You're probably tinkering on your car and we're just
Right.
the background noise.
So shout out to Beef. I know you're still watching, dog.
But yeah, it's so crazy is we do this and then when we do the live, you see how much support we get from
we gotta
the live.
do it.
We're due
another
for a
live.
live.
We're due
But
for a
that's
live.
I was trying to bring that. That's why I said it's. to
Yeah.
try
Maybe we
that.
can do one maybe before Thanksgiving. That's next week, isn't it?
Mhm.
Thanksgiving special.
I got next Wednesday off.
We'll talk about it after.
I'll get my turkey hat.
Olin's gone quiet.
I think I can.
I think he just took it off. All right, so Wednesday, next week,
He's gonna be sick.
the Thanksgiving special.
Wait, what time are we gonna do it?
Nah, we'll talk about it after.
All
We're
right.
just
We'll figure it out.
no promises. We're just talking about this literally as you're watching it.
Nah,
so.
but I can do the live.
But we're gonna try to do another live.
Cause it's not the same without the three of us.
It is definitely better. See if we can get even Mr. Marcy in here. What do you think about that?
Oh,
I think we should tie him. to
all the
chair.
talents.
Chris Marcy Thanksgiving special.
Yeah, but he'll like to be off the camera. Or just
He does like doing little weird things.
He'll
over
just
there off
he'll
the
just
camera.
bomb in on us.
right.
He does do that.
What's up, guys?
Yeah.
Hey,
Used to see him bang on.
talk
the
about
glass.
this. I was like, why don't you come talk about it? No.
No.
All right. I'll talk about
I just
it.
want you to bring it up.
All right.
Just mention it, please.
Yeah.
Okay, boss. But anyway, I pretty much talked about everything I want to. You guys got anything left?
I'm good.
Olin's good, so we're good.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah, it's been real. We'll see you.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Please. It makes me lots of money. Just kidding.
We already know you're a millionaire.
Yeah, don't tell everybody.
Oh, too late.
Alright, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Later.
See ya.